panel. Okay, good afternoon. I have given the mandate to chair or to be the moderator of this forum on education. There are 5 panelists. I've known Datuk Amar for so long, but I heard of our minister, Abdul Deen was used to be with me when we were doing SD, what do you call it, Sarawak Development Institute jobs, and but not the 2 gentlemen. But I Googled and I found out that one of them is a deputy minister. That is YB Tan Seri Mustapha bin Yunus, technologist, sorry, and Anne Lasimbang. I've known your sister because we presented a paper last time in Kajang. And I'm going to pose a question to you, since you are doing a lot of jobs on early childhood education, basically to the natives. Nothing. So, okay. But what are the challenges that you face in your job? 3 minutes to you, please.
Thank you. Even though we are talking about primary, secondary, university, but we must remember early childhood education is actually, because I am an educator, it is the foundation of our education. It's like building a building. If your foundation is not strong, no matter how beautiful your building is, strong wind will come, whatever nature will come, it will fall. So, but before we had all this education that came to us, actually, who provided us the early education during our time? It was our parents. So we learned from nature, we learned from our surrounding, and we went to school. Yeah. So for me, we started these community learning centers all over Sabah, mainly to answer, to see the problem that we have faced in Sabah, where we have so many dropouts. And so we have 25 community learning centers, and we actually also work in Sarawak and also in Semenanjung among indigenous people. And after 30 years, our result is good. We have so many of our young people in the rural areas succeeding in school, who were our former students, and actually going into university. So we can see, and it has been proven scientifically that early childhood is important. So for me, I'm thankful that we went into that road. But of course, we still have a lot of challenges. We still have youths falling through the crack who do not like to go to school, who are not successful. And recently in 2018, we again set up a center, also a learning center, non-formal, all these are non-formal, to work with the youths on what we call social entrepreneur, where they learn English, communication, character building, on-the-job training, food technology, and food security. These are for the youths who do not like to go or who cannot go forward. So we have now 4 batch. They are also very, I can see we have a lot of success in that. But what are the challenges? Of course, as our Datuk present, is the money. It takes a lot of money, but we are grateful. We also have a lot of support from previously from outside of Malaysia, but now we also have so many from the banks, from Yayasan, that is now going up in Malaysia, like Yayasan Hasana, Yayasan Daya Diri. They have provided these funds to train teachers, to have good quality teachers, also to provide money for that. And of course, another challenge is, of course, the law. Normally, even though our education is in Putrajaya, but sometimes officer will come to the kampung and say, oh, kamu ada lesen kah? Kamu ada permit kah untuk buat ini? And I must say the community has seen the importance of education, and they say, kami yang bagi permit. Community yang bagi permit. This, we are not receiving any money from the government, we are doing it ourselves. So that is the challenge. Yeah, money and also to provide the facility. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. And the next one, I pose question to Dr. Abdul Rahman Deen, because in your paper that you presented in BCSK a year ago, you mentioned about the challenges faced by, in your paper, the challenges by the education system. And can you enlighten us on the strategies to overcome those challenges? You mentioned about human resources, curriculum, teaching and learning environment, funding, as well as assessment.
Yeah, thank you very much. All this morning we heard about how education is a federal matter and is therefore a federal responsibility, and that we should seek authority over certain areas of education. However, from what we have seen so far, the federal authorities can drag their feet and take their sweet time to decide whether they want to give us the authority, and if they want to, or over which areas of education. So what do we do in the meantime? Do we just wait? And while we wait, cohorts of our students go through various disadvantages, and as a result, suffer from poor or lack of good quality education. I think we cannot wait. We have to start somewhere and do something. And the Ministry of Education, Master, in the year 2017, May 7, 2017, the ministry was set up with purely that understanding that although education is a federal matter, we in Sarawak have to do something on education. We cannot wait until we get all the authority before we can start doing something. And that is why the Ministry of Education, Science and Technological Research, or MESTA at that time, now it's called Ministry of Education, Innovation and Technological Development, it was set up. We understood very well that we may not be able to do anything about the policies, but there are many areas outside the policies which we can do. One of which was training of the teachers, training of the school leaders. We have done quite a lot of training. Of course, this requires a budget, but there are areas of training that can be done with the support of the NGO, with the support of the community, and which we must take advantage of and go ahead and do whatever we can within the limited resources that we have. If we do have the resources, well and good, like what Sarawak has done. But we don't have the resources, do what you can with the community support. I would like to highlight a little bit of what Sarawak has done over the years. For example, we recognize that the lack of computers to our rural school is one of the limiting factors for our students to do well in areas such as coding and so forth. So the Sarawak government made the decision to provide Raspberry Pi computers, which cost lower, but can do quite a lot of functions to help students in rural, especially in rural areas, to develop their computer skill, coding skill, and use this Raspberry Pi as an alternative to internet and benefit from internet services in the rural area, even though there are no internet services in that area. But still, we can have preloaded program into these devices that can benefit the student and the school. Maybe I'll just stop here and maybe add later on some other things.
Thank you. I think we have a very important panelist, that is our Deputy Minister. I will be asking the question on education autonomy. How, if it is granted by Putrajaya to Kuching and Kota Kinabalu, what would be the roadmap for you to implement the autonomy, education autonomy for Sabah and Sarawak?
Assalamualaikum and very good morning, moderator and all the panelists. I think that is a very heavy question. You're talking about autonomy. Well, let's see what is happening on the Borneo states. I think there's a lot of worrying issues being mentioned by Datuk Amar during his presentation. But that is in the under the Kementerian Pendidikan Malaysia. We talk about primary and secondary school. But we are in higher education. We are receiving the product of the primary and the secondary school. So what is our stats? Before you're talking about autonomy, you better understand what is happening current state of our higher learning education. Okay. In Borneo State, you talk about public university, you only have two. You're talking about full-fledged university, which is UNIMAS and UMS. The rest are only branch. We have IPTS in both states, but it's not full-fledged. They offer courses, certain courses only. Okay, out of 390 IPTS, we have 18 in Sabah, 28 in Sarawak. 28 in Sarawak. So what is the issue of our higher learning institution? Well, we have straight A's, a lot of A's. You mentioned, Datuk Amar, you mentioned A's. But is that A's quality? Because if you talk about STEM, now you have to really emphasize on STEM. Science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Sabah, sad to say, my fellow Sabahan here, we are below our enrollment to higher education on STEM, below national average, which is 12.7%. Now, national average is 22%. And thanks God, Sarawak is better than national, above national level, which is 33%. 33%. So actually we envy Sarawak on many things, many things. So there's a lot of issue, and even we are in charge of polytechnics, and we have to adjust our entry requirement to accept non-STEM students. Otherwise, our polytechnic will be empty. You're talking about 67% is non-STEM student in the polytechnic. And I think the TVET institution as well. So this is actually worrying. You talk about education is to produce a talent, a skilled worker, professional for the country, for both states. But we are facing a lot of challenges. I think even schools, primary and secondary school, a lot of challenges. So if we talk about autonomy, well, as you said, I've been following. Without budget, how you to perform? Without budget, no. What is it? The word just now, no money, no talk. But I think Sarawak is beginning to realize that, and I think Sabah also. But the way I see it, our problem is different from Semenanjung. That's why I always propose if we can start with a consortium or a collaboration amongst the IPTA and IPTS. Sabah, if we can include Sarawak, I think it's better. So we have to come up with our roadmap. Our problem is different. Our problem is different. Of course, we are preparing our plan roadmap for our higher education, 2025 to 2035. But that we can also include our inputs to the master plan, or we come up with our own, because our problem is different, our issues is different. Okay, then we'll see where we can play our role and whether in the end we can achieve that autonomy. So I think it's a very early stage. We have to do a lot of thinking, and we have to be ready. We question about the quality of our teachers. We have to be ready. Our students must be ready, our parents must be ready, our teachers must be ready, the community must be ready. Then I think we can talk about autonomy after that. It is a process. It is a process. But in the end, we have to make sure, of course, you want to claim our rights, but don't forget we have to nurture also this young generation. That's why I'm a bit worried here. Our young generation is nowhere in this hall. Where are they? I'm expecting my students, university students are here to listen to this. One, we have to be very sure, but we are claiming our rights, but never forget we have also developed this nation. We have to develop the nation. Then this is our niche area. I think only Borneo, Sabah, and Sarawak have that courage to make this, to unite this nation. Sorry about if there's a Semenanjung or Semenanjung here, but we have that quality. Sabah and Sarawak have that quality because we're born with it. We're born with it. So that's why I always tell our students, our Sabahan and Sarawakian, wherever they are, and all the university, you are the changer. You have to change this. You have to bring our culture to Semenanjung, because we are facing. If we cannot have, if we cannot address the issue of 3R, or basically 2R for Borneo State, this nation will divide. So this is the challenge, and this is our role as Borneo State while talking about autonomy. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Avi, Timbalan Menteri. Now, still on the issue of education autonomy. What if it is not granted? What will Sabah and Sarawak do? And why? Over to you. Over to you.
Before you talk about that devolution, I actually want to go back to what we have discussed this morning about breaches in the MSCC 3. Now a lot of breaches, not only breaches, but we are not even happy with those that are under the federal list in the federal constitution. Education is in the federal list. Even that we are not happy. We are even worried. We are even very concerned. We are even talking about the quality of generation that we are going to produce after this, right? That is the extent of our unhappiness to the federal government. Okay. So all this while, when we talk about breaches, we have been pointing the fingers, and that's federal government. But there's also 3 other fingers lah. pointing to yourself lah. And I think we can say this for us in Sabah. It is our own undoing that we have given that English just like that in 1973, said before. It's our own undoing. So a lot of these breaches actually because of our own undoing, right? And when you come to, we can talk about education. What would have happened if right from the very beginning in the cabinets, in the state cabinet of Sabah and Sarawak, we have included education as part of the portfolio? What would have happened? I think Datuk Amar, Michael would say that if you had said it right from the very beginning, perhaps you could have maintained that quality. So if you ask me, what can we do to devolve that power? You have already started it. Sarawak has started, but only you start in 2017. Sabah started 2018, but new government came and they removed the Ministry of Education in Sabah. So why we didn't have Ministry of Education? Because it's on the federal list. But in the peninsula, there is a Esko Pendidikan. So in Sabah, while we have a ministry, cabinet system, we talk about Esko Pendidikan in Sabah prior to the establishment of the Ministry of Education, which was removed. And maybe this is because of this thing about budget. This budget, this money is from federal government, they should run education. And yet, the state government is awarding scholarship, yet they are going into education in some form or the other. So to start with, yes, you're already doing the right thing. Sarawak is doing the right thing. We should have our own Minister of Education to begin with. And Sabah should have the Minister of Education to begin with. You know? And when you look at the IGC on education, in fact, I wanted to show the slides because I think not everybody is familiar with IGC. Okay? There are two things in there. It's very clear that we can do. Right? And for Sabah, not many people have gone to the local government authorities. The role of local government authorities, Majlis Daerah, Majlis Perbandaran. In the local government authorities, local government ordinance 1961, one of the functions of local authorities very clearly stated there is education. Ada sana. But it has never been used. They have never been used. It's already there. It's for you to just do it. For as long as I think you are not infringing on the policy as stated in the Education Act. We can do it. We can already be there. When I was in the cabinet, and when Minister of Education was there, Dr. Yusuf was there, we were preoccupied with question about sekolah-sekolah daif. We are very concerned sekolah-sekolah daif. Because we have been asking for the money, and we were monitoring which schools has already been upgraded, things like that. We have not gone into things like quality, like what Dr. Michael is talking about. We can go into that. Why not? We can go into that, but it's no longer there. And we should go back and just do it, just do it. We want to, if you like to do it, supplement. It's just like the private sector is doing their part on education, although it's a federal matter. But what does it mean, federal matter? All it means is policy. All it means policy. Or if the federal government is doing something which is not it's not within the MACC 3, at least we could point out to them that, look, this is not what I expected you to do. This is not what we have agreed. But we are not even doing that. When there is a breach by the federal government, where are we? Did we ever point it out to them? And I want to give an example like this morning, Article 122. Article 122AB, Federal Constitution. Cerita pagi tadi lah. This is the power of the TYT to appoint judicial commissioners. When it was passed, it was tabled in Parliament in 1994. Among those who debated it and supported it He was put it right under the bill. Current University Sarawak, my friend, Tun Pihin, Pan Sunedi, supported it, didn't even see it. And all the MPs from Sabah and Sarawak supported that bill, without realizing that we have just removed the power of the TYT to appoint judicial commissioners. And what did the two state government do? Did we ever make a representation? Oh, under Article 161E of Federal Constitution, you are supposed to consult the government, state government, but you didn't. So this one is void. This is not invalid. This the amendment by the Parliament is invalid. Did we do that? We didn't. So as I said, I think it's about time that we have to look at ourselves now. There are things that we can do ourselves. And I agree with our discussion this morning that yes, we move forward and let's look at what are the things that we have kita tidak buat. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, YB Datuk Sri Panglima. We have only 6 more minutes. I'm not going to ask questions on our Datuk Amar, but I would open it to the floor for only 2 questions. Please stand up, say your name, and to whom you want to ask the question to. Okay, thank you. The first lady I saw in the jacket, please. One lady, one man, please. Right. One lady and one gentleman.
Hello, my name is Anne Teo. I'm from a local organization called ROSE. We work on civic and voter education. So education is very much on my heart and on my colleagues' hearts as well. Now, the question I want to ask the panel, if any one of you knows knows the answer, is whether there are any, I have 2 questions actually. First one is whether there are any efforts made by our state of Sarawak or state of Sabah to reform, or rather to add value on the point of MA 63 and education, what do you call that? Information, historical basis and information, to change the syllabus on that, or the history syllabus or whatever other suitable syllabus or subject that is appropriate. That's one. The second one is, what is the likelihood, or does anyone know what is the likelihood of bringing back what Datuk Sri Panglima mentioned about bringing back the point on primary schools education back under the local councils or local government purview? Yeah, what's the likelihood of that happening, and whether there's been any efforts?
Okay, thank you. The next one. Okay, yang di belakang itu, please come. Give the microphone to him. Dua saja. Otherwise, we will overshot. Ini, I saw him first. Yeah. No, there, at the back there. The gentleman at the back, standing there.
Okay, knowing that there are many low enrollment schools in rural areas, especially primary school, including my area in Baram. Okay, my name is Patrick Sibat from Sadia. Knowing that there are so many low enrollment school, primary school, including my area in Baram, primary 1 to primary 6, for example, hardly come to 30 pupils. Why it is so difficult to establish in strategic area a full residential school and close some of this school? That also solve sekolah daih problem. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone? Any takers?
Terima kasih, Patrick. When I took over the ministry, I started on the 7th of May 2017. I called the Director of Education, what are the likely factors which cause the poor results of our school, especially rural school. And it come out, one of them is dilapidated school in rural areas. out of 1,248 primary schools, we have 1,020 classified as dilapidated. So what we do, we have a meeting with Jahid, who was then the Deputy Prime Minister, together with our Chief Minister. He was briefed by the Director of Education. We have 1,020 dilapidated, especially rural areas. Jahid asked me, yes, Datuk, what is the amount that is required? I told him right on the spot, conservatively, we need 3 billion. He just kept quiet. But our Chief Minister immediately, if you don't have the money, I give you 1 billion. That 1 billion is in contrast to our loan. Because we have a lot loan, so we gave 1 billion. But unfortunately, first they agreed that this 1 billion is to be deposited in a trust fund so that other states cannot make use of this money. It's only for Sarawak, for dilapidated school. When Lim Guan Eng became the finance minister, said no, this must be put in the consolidated fund. So it was delayed. Then again delayed. Who to implement? JKR Sarawak or JKR Semenanjung? So ding dong, ding dong, ding dong. We had to fight for it. Finally, she agreed. Until today, I think we have not spent 300 million out of the 1 billion. Until today. I've retired for 3 years already. So that is to answer on dilapidated. Secondly, small schools. We also have identified. We have labs and labs and labs conducted. We identified how many small schools are there. And how many, we use the word not merger, but centralized. So we have identified. We call all the YBs, including your YB. All of them came. They were very excited when we told them we want to close that school, put one big school here. When they come back to the respective area, hopefully that your area is one of them or not one of them, no, nostalgia. We have been here for many, many years. Cannot close the school because the law says, the Education Act says, if one parent refuses to close the school, you cannot close. You see the act. So that again we stop, full stop. You see? So that's why we already found out low, as I mentioned just now, low enrollment school is one of the factors which cause the poor results. Of course, the other one is high turnover. You know, Sarawak, we have a policy called 90-10. That is 90% of the teachers must be Sarawakian. And the 10 from Semenanjung or from Sabah. But unfortunately, this policy, we have reached there. But this policy become a demotivating factor. The moment they posted there, after 2 years, please, I want to retire. I want to get transferred. So there's a very high turnover in our rural areas. So that caused poor results. So that's why in my paper just now, centralize the school. That means merge. That is an answer to it. But our political leaders, the YB here, speak in parliament, we want this. Cannot wait. Because this is one of the diseases that we have, the bad things. So hopefully our YBs will fight for it. Thank you.
Thank you. Maybe just 2 minutes. Anybody want to respond to the first question? 2 minutes only, because after that we have to knock off. No injury time.
I have tried that in my constituency once upon a time to consolidate, but it's not easy. It's not easy because you need a bigger budget in the infrastructure. You need to have the yeah. I mean, you're talking about centralized, responding to this question, right?
First question by that lady in the jacket.
Well, okay. For me, the involvement should be incremental lah, pelan-pelan lah. But you have to start with the Ministry of Education, and Sarawak you go to the Ministry of Education. For Sabah, I think you should go back and start your Ministry of Education first lah. Otherwise, don't even talk about making a suggestion. Apalagi kalau curriculum, because you need the thinking, you need the staff and things like that, if you want to contribute to that. Otherwise, you just start with someone like Anne Lasimbang, do it at your own level lah.
Maybe we stop there. I pass the mic to Datuk Amar. He wants to answer. No. After that, no more. We stop after his answer.
Yes, the council, a lot of schools in Sarawak were under the council before. But there is no way for us to reinstate it because the councils have no money. I was a council minister, local council minister for 4 years. We have a number of councils, we call them more or less under the, all depend on federal or the state money, state grant. So if we give them the school responsibility, I think the school will be totally lost. No money. So no way. So don't try to reinstate the council to take over the school. In Sarawak, there are a lot of school under council before.
I think to be fair with our from Ross. Okay, I think that is a very good suggestion. I think one of our, if you remember, one of our manifesto those days, 2018, is to have our own history edition for Sabah or in Sarawak, of course. Because there's so many history that I think not in the book. Maybe we cannot change the book. I think that is for national level. But we can always add in special edition. Not many knows that the first British settlement, if you talk about Malaysia, the first is in Pulau Belambangan, Kudat. That is well before Penang and Singapore. But it's being destroyed by the Sulu, Kesultanan Sulu lah, by the name of Datuk Tating. That is well before. This is studied by our UMS lecturer. So there's many histories. I think if you talk about MS63 also, this must be put in a special edition to add on to the current textbook in history. I think that is my suggestion.
Okay, thank you very much, TSYB Mustapha, for his answer. And I also wish to express my appreciation to all the panelists for answering my question and also the question from the floor. With this, please join me for a big round of applause to thank the panelists. And now I hand over to the MC. Thank you very much.